welcome back to the BlueNote Fan Report. This is your post-game show. Okay, I got to admit, I got a phone call from my landlord because we're moving and all that stuff, so I missed the last 5 minutes of the game. But what a game. Yeah, it's a win. This is a win, and I'll take it, but I'm not happy with some of the outcome, okay? The giving up 2 goals in the third when you're up 6-3, 6-2 is not all that great. Of course, barbershop scars after my comment. You're welcome, my friend. You're welcome. They had more than 30 shots. I got to look at the stats. I didn't get to see it yet. 33 shots for the Blues. They gave up 26. Blues were 1 for 1 on the power play. Coyotes were 1 for 4, but you could really say they were 3 for 4. 2 of those came right after the power play ended. I mean, right after. In one case, I don't even think the guy probably just stepped on the ice. So, it's one of those situations. But, it is what it is. And you take it from there. And hey, Ashley, how are you doing?
Hey, good.
So, question for you. What's your initial impression of this game?
Well, I really was impressed with Costin, which I wasn't expecting because during the first intermission, I said, hey, I don't think he should move up. It's a good thing he moved up. Kyrou, oh my goodness, 4-point game. The youngsters really led the way today. Yeah. I feel like we played more of the game than we did against Colorado, except for maybe like that 5 minutes in the third where we could let them feel like they were going to come back.
Yeah, I'm with you.
But I'd say we probably played about 47 minutes of hockey today.
Yeah, there was. It was a little concerning that you have this team, your foot on their throat, and that's probably a really bad reference, but to have them basically down and out and then let them breathe light, that's concerning.
Yes, we have got to stop letting the other teams come back.
Yeah. I seen. I'll give Berube some credit. He was in there coaching, okay? He was coaching. He was getting on them, but the system still is not. The system is still slightly broken.
But I think he's starting to make those adjustments. We're seeing more offense than what usually comes from his system.
Agreed. I picked Kyrou in the pick'em contest. We didn't do a pick'em contest, buddy.
Well, if we did, you would have at least gotten 1 point for your 4-1 Coyotes.
No, it said he picked them. Oh no, I'd have gotten blown away. I wouldn't have gotten nothing because I'd had to pick I'd have picked Keller, so I'd got 1 point there.
Well, you did say 4 points for Arizona, and they got 4.
Oh no, yeah, that's right. I would have got 2 then. Yeah, it was 7-4, so I said 4-1. Yeah. Oh, hey, I'll take it. Oh, he made his own pick'em contest. The defense took off the entire third period, couldn't clear, caught watching the puck. I'll take the win, but we can't do this every game, not against good teams at all. No, and see, that's 2 games in a row we've done it, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And it's not 2 games in a row. It's from last season, and it's from other seasons, and it goes back. It's kind of that, it's become a mantra, more or less, of let's not do what we need to do. Let's not play what we need to play. And, we got the lead and we'll leave it at that. So, that's just kind of the scariest part on me. For that. Sorry.
You're fine. I'm reading some of the comments.
Yeah. No. So you can look at, again, you look at some losses as good losses, and you look at some wins as bad wins. This one, I don't want to call it a bad win, but it has some of the characteristics of a bad win.
It does, but they reacted to correct the mistake a lot quicker tonight than they did Saturday. So I'm going to take that as a slight improvement.
Okay.
I agree with that. And hopefully we will just stop letting teams back in when we get a big lead.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree with that. I think you're kind of to a point. It was better. However, the what you have to look at is the level of competition between the last game and this game. There is, night and day. So the fact that had this been Colorado, they'd have tied that game. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
Colorado ties the game.
I don't think Colorado lets us score that many goals.
Yeah,
I was shocked we scored as many goals as we did Saturday.
No, well, you look at it now. Here's the thing to think about right now. The Blues have scored, what's it, 13 goals or 12 goals in 2 games, right?
I think it's
six goal average.
Yeah,
that's interesting. That's something. Okay, this isn't the Blues we saw before. Last season.
Like I said, we're seeing more offensive fire, which shows that Berube is adjusting or trying to acclimate to speed.
Yeah, I seen that, and we have some speed now that we didn't have before, and speed is getting used a little bit better. Kyrou, who last season absolutely showed some of his speed and got pulled back. Well, let's hope this season that doesn't happen, that he doesn't get pulled back.
You see, I don't really see that because, like, on the TV, it showed Berube coaching him after a goal, telling him look at how nice that was.
Yeah, well, I don't know what Berube said. I know that there were some words put in his mouth, but he was coaching him. He really was, and he was pointing stuff out. So I get that. I'm guessing he wasn't pointing out. I mean, usually when a coach, if you get a pat on the back, you get a pat on the back. But when you get a talking to, it's usually, yeah, that was nice. But hey, did you see this other thing that happened there that you missed? Right. So I think that might have been something like, oh, by the way, I need to say this right off the get-go. Boy, was I wrong about Hutton. I am severely disappointed with Hutton. He is a better goalie than that. Now he did get left behind. I agree. He got left hung out to dry consistently. But right now, I don't know what else to say. It's really tight, and I'm hoping that we'll see a little bit better play from him later down the line.
I mean, we can hope, but I also don't want to see it.
Well, I mean, I always wish the best for every player,
Well, yes, but I don't want us to see it.
I get that. There you go. Sam goes, it was the defense. Langford says Hutton's a bad goalie. But when he was here, he wasn't. He's not a bad goalie.
He's in a funk right now.
Well, I don't think it's a funk. I don't think he's had good teams around him. Oh, here's a good one. What are Bennington's stats? Okay, I can give you those. Bennington was 22 for 26 with an .846 save percentage, a 4.0 goals against average. He allowed 1 power play goal and 3 even strength goals. Right, that's his stats. Kind of go down here. Tereshchenko had 4 shots tonight. Had a point. Was +2. He did get a point. There we go. Okay, he did get a point tonight. O'Reilly had a point tonight. Bushnevich had a goal had a goal. Neighbors had an assist. Costin had 2 goals. Kyrou was the man of the night. 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points. He was a +3. Had 4 shots on goal. 50% shooting. How's that? And 1 giveaway. So no, that and then the Blues takeaways. Who had takeaways? Shin had a takeaway. Costin had a takeaway. Barbashev had a takeaway. O'Reilly had a takeaway. He also had a giveaway, and so did Tereshchenko. Wallman had a takeaway and a giveaway. Both Pareko and Falk had giveaways. They have Kyrou on right now. Right. He had a good game. He had a solid. I think he's had a solid 2 games. He's like second in points overall in the league. Right with 6, I think the lead is 7. So definitely he had a great game tonight.
Yeah, he sure did.
Right. Colt is probably a +1, or might be even or a -1. I didn't see what he did tonight. Tonight he was Pareko was a +1, and I think he was a -1 in the last game, so it might be even for the season. So my stats won't update until later, but yeah, so I think that's where he's going to be, probably an even. So we'll take that right now. In the first 2 games, Tank, Shin, and O'Reilly, 2 points. I'm not sure what you're saying there, Roland. First 2 games, Tank, Shin, and O'Reilly, 2 points. The young kids are helping this team. Yeah, the young kids are helping this team. I get that. Wallman makes me think of Walmart. Got to tighten that up. I'm with you. Yeah, there was not a bad game tonight. Overall, they got behind. They didn't let it. The second period, they may have gotten rid of their second period woes. They're a plus. What they score? They gave up.
They scored 5
They gave up 2. They scored, what was it, 5 in this one, 2 in the last one, 7. So they're +5. +5 in the second. They're a minus in the third. Right? They're like a -3 in the third. So that's going to be an issue. That's something that's got to get cleaned up. But the reason they're a minus is because they've been ahead. That's the other thing. They were ahead. So that's something to look at. This was not a complete. It wasn't a flat out. Yeah, this was a great win. It was okay. We got to win, but there's some things we need to clean up.
Yeah.
Right?
But really, in the whole scheme of things, any win, there are things that we can go back and look at the tape and see that we need to work on.
It's very rare that you get that perfect game. Right. And we haven't had that perfect game yet, and we haven't had it in a long time. No, this was a game where you can look at a lot of players and say, okay, we're starting to get an identity. Quote Bertuzzo during the chirping. No, I'm not sure what he did. Again, I didn't get to see the last 5 minutes of the game. My landlord called me. These teams need to get a bit, and remember, we were down a player 2 in the third. Now that's a good point. All right, that's a good point. Right. That is something to think about. And actually, we're going to be down. So now the question is, Bushnevich will not play against Vegas. Right. I mean, if he has his hearing tomorrow, I don't see him playing against Vegas. If they don't hold it until later, I don't see that either. Hey, let's welcome in Mr. Lance DeScott. Hey, Lance, how you doing?
Not too bad.
Not too bad. So I look at this as one of them wins, Lance, where it was okay, wasn't great, things that need to get cleaned up, but in the long run, good 2 points.
Yeah, I'm still seeing some defensive mistakes.
Yeah,
I think the offense is definitely looks better than the defense. I thought Bennington several times throughout the night was outstanding. And I think we've all got a question about him. People don't understand why we do, but you and I both know that them first 50 some odd games he played, he had a 1.89 goals against average and a save percentage of .923, I believe. Yeah. There's not many guys that do that in a whole season if you go down through history, especially guys in today's common era. And people expect him to get back to that. I think he's capable of being a guy that's between 2.40 and 2.52 goals against a game, and 915 to 922 save percentage. And if he can be somewhere in that range, and the Blues defense helps him out at all, they're going to be successful.
Yeah, I'm with you. How's your Mountain Dew, Ashley?
Pretty good.
No, again, so Lance, you haven't heard this. So We had a good post-game argument about Bennington last post-game, and I have been asked to give Bennington 15 games before I make any more negative comments about Bennington.
Yeah,
So-
I normally you know, you and me, you normally look after like 8 to 10 games. I do 20 games as a team, and you can tell a lot about a goaltender in his first 12 to 15 starts if he's going to have a good season yet. Sometimes you could see a guy go 9-3 and all of a sudden just suck up everything, and you know he's just terrible. But I think Bennington, if he stays consistent and he keeps that attitude that he has and doesn't let it get overpowering, because you know when you have an attitude like that as a goaltender and you're very cocky, it can kind of take control of you. And when you don't have success, it's not easy. It's not easy on a goaltender like that. And goaltenders as a whole are strange people. Trust me, I know. I used to be one. And when you have too much confidence and you start getting shell shocked and you're giving up 6, 7 goals, 5 goals, that confidence can sometimes not benefit you. It can help you, you know, to get back to the next game and forget it. But sometimes, you know, it can really start to get you to question yourself. But I don't think Bennington's that way. And I'll look at him, you know, after the first 12, 15 games, 20 games. And if he's still playing like he has in the last 2 games, I'll be pretty happy with it.
While I was in St. Louis, I talked to an NHL player. I asked him about Bennington. And his quote was, and I originally put this in the article and I took it out. Right? I took it out. But it was, he's my favorite guy to score on. And it's because of his cockiness. You like to knock that down a little bit.
Yeah, if you ask not just fans, but players around the league, that they would just love to score on him. And hey, you know, people are already gunning for you.
Yeah.
You don't want to give them more stuff to be gunning for you. And, you know, when he does stuff like last year, when he chased a guy, you know, out in the corner and put his stick up to a guy leaving the ice. And, you know, there's a time and place for that. And sometimes you don't choose the best places for it. And
I happen to think that was the right time and place.
Actually, see, I'm going to agree with her on this one because they came back and won that game.
Yeah, but you know what? In my opinion, I don't think that anything to do with it, because before that, the Blues were starting to play a little bit better and putting things together.
But I still think that motivated them.
It could have backfired on him big time, because he could have done that and they could have played well, and the other team could have come out and said, "This really pisses us off. We're going to just go after him." And that's not what happened. But, you know, you got to pick your times when you do that. You got to pick your times when you're hitting the guy in the back of the knees when he's in front of you, and, you know, it's standing in your crease. You got to make sure the ref isn't looking. And, you know, if the guy keeps doing it, and you're up, you know, 3-0, 4-0, yeah, you better get a little bit more physical with him and hit him really hard in the back of his leg, or you better push him with your stick and knock him down. Goaltenders, I think a lot of them are too soft today.
Yeah.
I really do.
They've got to be. Because consistently there was somebody in his face.
Yeah,
both games.
Yeah,
both games. There's consistently been somebody in his face.
Yeah. I don't want him to be Ron Hextall, and I don't want him to go nuts sometimes like Patrick Waugh did later on in his career. Yeah. But Patrick Waugh had that same swagger early in his career, and very little did it really explode. It exploded a few times when he felt it necessary. And I hope that Bennington learns when it's necessary. And I can understand why you guys thought that was necessary at the time, because, you know, it looked like it ended up helping him, but you got to be really careful because it can backfire.
Yeah. And that's, I agree. But again, I'm not talking bad about him. I promised, and I'm not going to. He's going to get his 15 games.
It's like I've said on here before, Guy, and Ashley's heard me. Bennington isn't as great as those that love him think he is, and he isn't as bad that those that hate him thinks he is.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't hate Bennington. He's my fantasy goalie. I wouldn't have made him my fantasy goalie if I hated him.
I will tell you.
But you've got like this. It's like this spot you want to poke all the time. You're poking the bear.
When he's on and he's taking the angles properly and comes out when he should and stays back in his crease when he needs to, he could be one of the best in the league. What gets himself in trouble sometimes is when he has those games where all of a sudden he gives up a soft goal or two because he didn't have the right angle to the puck. And, those can frustrate you. But when he's technically sound, I think he's a top 5 goaltender. When he's not, he's a top 15 goaltender.
Yeah, that's right. He's no Grubauer. He didn't give up 5 goals today to Philadelphia. He shut out Philadelphia the last time he played them. So, yeah. See, I'm giving him love right there. Right? That Grubauer, man, I knew with Seattle, and I don't want to get off too much, but I talked about with Seattle, I had said that they were going to lose and teach their fans how to lose first. And I think that's exactly what they're doing. They're not a playoff team. They never were. The way they drafted, when Vegas drafted, you could look at Vegas and go, yeah, they got a chance here if the division's weak. We didn't realize how good they actually were, but the draft, you'd say that. You look at Seattle's draft and you can't say that. And that's the way I feel about it. And now I feel bad for Schwartz, going to there after, coming here and just leaving to get paid. You're getting paid, but I don't think you'll be there the whole time.
Yeah. I give Vegas credit for how they drafted, but I give them big credit after the first 2 years. They made some adjustments because they had a lot of those guys that they took from other teams that had a year left, that had 2 years left. And they knew they were going to be decent in their first 2 years. And then after that, they continued to draft well. They continued to trade well. They continued to sign players. I think that's what sets Vegas apart from other expansion teams. And, I think Seattle can creep up on somebody when they play their game. But to me, they're going to have to rely too much on Grubauer. I think their defense is young. And I really, really think Grubauer he's not going to be anywhere near as good as he was with Colorado, because even though Colorado's defense is more offensive than they are defensive in my mind, he had a good team in front of him and it covered up some of his deficiencies. Seattle, it ain't going to cover up his deficiencies.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm with you on there. We're going to see. We're going to see what happens. Nick says 2-0-0. That's all that matters. I maybe, but you know what? When you say that, let's go back to 2016-17, right? Or is that right? No, yeah, 2016-17. The Blues started October, the first month, 10-3-1. Go look that up. They started that month 10-3-1.
Yep. And I remember after those games, right around the 12th, 13th game, and the NHL Network was saying, well, the Blues have started so hot, they've got to be considered one of the top cup contenders. They were the best team in the league at one point. Yeah. And I kept most points. Yeah. And I kept saying, guys, let's wait 30 games and see where they're at. I love the fact they're playing well, but let's not anoint them yet. And we all saw how that ended up at the end of that year. Missed the playoffs by 1 point. Yeah. So, yes, it is 2-0-0, but it's not all that matters. Yep. No, and as a fan, that's all that matters. And I've posted, hey, it's not a good win, but it's a win. A win's a win, and it is in the standings. But I guarantee you that Berube and the coaches and the players all know that they haven't played their best hockey. They know they haven't played their best game. And every player knows that. Every coach knows that. And even with a victory, you've got to pick out what you're doing wrong, because you're not going to be perfect in a victory. If you don't do that, you start out 10-3-1 and you end up not making the playoffs. Exactly. No, I'm with you. And I just, my job, right, is to give you my best formatted opinion based on what I see, hear, and feel. Right? That's my job. I don't do anything else. This is what I'm trying to get paid to do. This job right here. So if I went rah, 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 rah all the time, while more people might watch me, I'm not going to be, I'm not giving you anything. Well, Guy, right? It's like I told you when you and I first met. I said, a lot of people just look at stats, analytics, whatever. What I tell you, watch a player. And that's what a lot of people don't get. If you look at Zach Sanford, he's an okay player. I didn't hate him. I just thought he made too many mistakes in bad situations, and Berube would put him on the penalty kill. And I never understood that. And that's Berube's fault, because he didn't put Zach Sanford in a position to be successful. And I wish him the best in Ottawa. I think he's going to work decent there. But, if you watching him night in, night out, and keeping an eye on him on every shift, it doesn't show what his goals and assists and his plus minus were. That doesn't always show up on paper.
It's only the first week. However, are there any teams that you want to shift around in your standings predictions? Right now, no.
Nope.
Right now, no. I don't see. Well, I will say this: the one team that I would look at maybe dropping, if I was going to drop somebody, would be Chicago. But that, I mean, the way that the Flower has been lit up is really. I don't know what to say, man. He's not that bad of a goalie. He won the Vezina last season.
Yeah, their defense is young, and they've got a quick defense, but they're not as good as the Golden Knights defense, and they're not as good as the Pittsburgh defense was when he was there. Plus, when he was in Pittsburgh, they were scoring 4 or 5 goals a night with Crosby and Malkin and all them other guys. So every team's different. I think he's going to struggle a little bit in Chicago. Is he still a great goalie? Yeah. Even if he struggles in Chicago, trust me, as the Blues team or any other team going in there to play him, they know they're going to have to really play well to beat him, regardless. He's a great goaltender, and he's struggling. And if you guys remember, I said Winnipeg would start out the season slow, and that's why I had them pick 7th, and everybody was upset at me. I think they're going to have issues. Are they going to be as bad as they've been in the first couple games? No, I don't think they will be. But I just don't see them. A lot of people are finishing them guy to win the Central, and I don't see that.
No, and you know what? I'm still, even now, I pick the Avalanche to win the Central.
I did too. I did too.
Even that, I think they may not win that Central.
Somebody in the middle there picked the Blues.
Oh, I know. And right now, it is very early in the season.
Yes.
But there is one thing that I have learned so much in my decades of watching hockey. Trends start early. Trends start early. Now, Ryan Green says Neighbors got dragged around like a rag doll a little bit. I didn't see that. I thought he was
It was at the end when we were cut off.
Yeah. Okay, well, I didn't get to see the last couple minutes of the game.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't say he got dragged around. He just got moved around is what I would say.
Yeah.
Hey, he's 5'10", 195, which is stocky. But dang, you go against a guy that's 6'2", 6'3", and 230, you're going to get pushed around.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
And I always say, trends start early, bad habits start early. And if a team doesn't start adjusting with those bad habits, it can snowball. I mean, we saw it in that season you mentioned when the Blues started out great. After that, they just started a lot of bad habits. They were giving up leads. They weren't scoring enough goals. They weren't protecting Jake Allen. They weren't protecting anybody. And it was just downhill from there. It was just a cluster. It's like a snowball starting at the top of a hill and coming down. It was like an avalanche.
All right. Thanks for laughing. We had a 3-year run of bad habits. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's what I've been talking about. Jason, I know you disagree with me 9 times out of 10, but that's exactly what I've been talking about for the past 3 years. Since I started this show in 2018, this is my 4th season. That's it. Lance, you've known me from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Have I not been saying the same thing?
Yeah, I don't think you've changed.
Right? So that's that's the point that I've been trying to get at. You have to fix these things now. You have to fix them now. And you cannot allow points, cover them up.
That's
and
right.
Unfortunately, too many people see that.
Even when you're winning, you've got mistakes and you've got to fix them, because if you don't fix them, somebody will take advantage of them. They'll watch the film on you and you'll start losing.
That's what I think.
Yeah, our games will be a lot closer. I'm not
Yeah.
saying the Blues have played bad, but if you
No.
watch the game, in both of these games, they've not, especially in the game the other night, they just let the gas off. And Berube does that a lot when they get a 3 or 4 goal lead. He'll say, all right, we're going to just strap down defensively, and you stop attacking. It's just like in football. The prevent defense only prevents you from winning. So this team has got some stuff to work on. Have they won 2 games? Have they played well for most of both of the games? Yeah, I'd say they played pretty dang well. I've been impressed with Costin. I've been saying since last year, this kid needs more time. If he makes a mistake, put him back out there. Let him learn from that mistake.
Yeah.
Because Kyrou, if you remember correctly, would be here for a couple games, and then Berube would set him for a couple games. Kyrou would have been better earlier if Berube would have allowed him to make some of those mistakes.
Hey, I got to do this. Good point, Sam. Almost seems like they panic when they get pinned in their own zone. Yeah, it does seem like that because a lot of the passes go around the boards, and that's exactly what they know. So they become a team. The Blues have, in my eyes, and I'm saying in my eyes, become a creature of habit. They seem to do the same thing over and over and over again. And it's not just this season. It is from last season and the season before and the season, even the Stanley Cup season. They seem to do the same thing.
Well, if you remember the last 2 playoffs against Vancouver and Colorado, what did both those teams do? They knew the Blues run the puck around the boards to get it out of the zone, and they put somebody there, and the Blues had problems clearing the puck, and they didn't make the adjustments.
And they had it again, but it was the same thing today.
Same thing.
In the third period, every puck went up the boards, and every time the 2 defensemen pinched on the boards to keep it in.
Yeah.
Right? I know you're not supposed to send the puck up center, but if you're going to send it around the board, send it high around the boards.
If you're going to send it around the boards, make sure somebody's there to get it and at least extend it out of the zone. Yeah.
Yeah. Or get it up high, loft it to center ice, get it up in the air, make somebody throw a high stick up there to stop play or whatever. But don't just send it around the boards every single time. And that's exactly what happens.
Can I say one thing?
Yes,
I saw some people online, a lot of people in this town hated Justin Falk the first year he was here. And Guy, you remember I said, give him time. Berube's system is totally different than the systems he's played in, even in college, whenever, juniors, he was in juniors. And he's used to a certain system. It's going to take time. And Krug, Krug was second on this team in assists last year, not second defensively, second overall with, was it 39 assists? The guy's great offensively. I think he's a much better version of Kevin Shattenkirk, and he plays better defense. He's just not big. And I think Krug and that penalty he got tonight when he shot the puck over the glass, a lot of people were ripping him. Guys, that happens. You go to flip it and it goes somewhere you don't think it's going to go.
Yeah, no, I don't fault him for that. That just happened. That's not like, it was just it wasn't, you can tell when a guy is trying to just get it out of the zone. Yeah. He wasn't, he wasn't trying to flip it over and up. It's one of them things that happens. I actually hate that that's a penalty, right? That this, puck over to the glass is an automatic. I think a situation has to be looked at, right? If you're in your own zone, getting plummeted, and you take it and you just throw it up out of the glass to get over. Okay, that's delay of the game. But in his case, he was at the blue line, basically just behind it, trying to flip the puck back, right? That's why, that mentality of that's like the one penalty that no matter how you look at it, it's always a penalty. Yeah. No matter what the intent is, it's always a penalty.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Yeah. And that's the one clear cut. That's the only clear cut that you'll ever find.
One thing I do want to say, and I think Ashley and you both agree with me, Berube is a little bit on the hot seat. This is his last year. He's going to have to make some adjustments over his last several years, the last 2 years especially. And I'm hoping that he starts seeing, because I'm going to tell you, 2 years ago, I don't care how good Jake Neighbors was, he wouldn't be up here.
Oh yeah.
And Costin, Neil would have played over Costin tonight. but I'm
Yeah.
hoping he's making a little bit of change, giving these guys some room, because every level you go up, the KHL is a good league. It's not the NHL. Maybe 10 to 15% of those guys could play in the NHL. The rest of them can't. They're AHL type caliber. But give these guys some time. They're going to make mistakes. Let them learn from those mistakes. Every time I played and I got moved up to the next level, I was playing against kids 2-3 years older than me. Was I as good as I was in the previous level? Not at first, because you've got to learn these things, and the game gets quicker each level you go up.
Oh no,
And
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only. I put Berube on the hot seat last year. Well, I said it was just getting there.
Yeah.
But even ESPN put him on the hot seat.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
Right. They had him at number 4. In fact, they had 4 of the 5 coaches were in the Central.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Right. So that says something. Lambert makes a good point here. He says at least Costa made a solid statement tonight. He did.
Yep.
He played very well tonight.
Yep.
He was physical. He had 3 hits, 2 goals, 3 shots. He was moving the puck well. He was in there, and not only that. And I will say this to a T. And if someone wants to argue with me, let's argue. Tarasenko had an amazing game tonight.
Yeah, I think Ashley will agree too. She's shaking
One
her head,
giveaway, and then after the giveaway, he went back, forechecked, and took the puck, or back checked and took the puck back.
A lot of people are expecting him. Oh, it's going to be the Tarasenko 40, 45 goals, 30. I'm going to tell you something, guys. If he scores more than 30 goals, I'll be shocked, because he's buying into Berube's system. He's taking care of stuff defensively. And when a player focuses on that, look at Brett Hall when he went to Dallas. Brett had never won a Stanley Cup, and Hitchcock kept pounding it. And Hitchcock would set Brett Hall, a Hall of Famer, the 4th all-time goal scorer, I think, in all time, and would set him when he would play bad defensively. And they fought back and forth. Trust me. I talked to Brett about it. They would gnaw back and forth, and Brett just thought, well, I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to be stronger defensively. I'm not going to be the best defensive forward out there, but I'm going to be responsible. And it got him a cup. Did he score 40 goals? No, I think he scored 22 or 25 that year. Yeah. But it got him a cup, and that's what Tarasenko is going to be doing this year.
Yeah, no, and that's what I talked about. I said that I saw that last season.
Yeah.
Even though I got told no by a couple of former NHLers, but that's what I saw, and I'm seeing more of it this season. And not only that, I think once he gets a couple of goals, it's going to open up for him.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, if you watched him, like you and I talk about watching people, not just looking at the stats, the person that actually watched him in that Colorado series, he was still hurt from that shoulder surgery. He was not 100%. And he was out there hitting people with that bad shoulder, pushing people around, getting them out in front of the net. He was doing everything he wanted to do. And then everybody got on to him for the loss. He worked his butt off in that Colorado series.
Oh, I agree. I think I constantly hear that Bennington was the best player in that series. I don't think he was, but that's another statement for another day. Tarasenko has done what he's needed to do. Yeah. And all of this stuff about the trade, right, Ashley? You know that probably of all the people that do this, me and Lance are probably the only guys that said, I don't think so. Though, Lance, you did say you knew they were trying to trade him.
Oh, I knew that for a fact. It's like we talked with Rob. I brought out that he was trying to trade with Washington, and people poo-pooed it. And then 2 Russian papers about a week after I said it, and you said it, put it out that Tarasenko was trying to be traded to Washington for was it Kuznetsov or yeah. And it was, they tried to trade him. Then they tried to trade him to the Islanders, and Doug Armstrong, I know for a fact, stuck to his first round, a player that plays right now, and a draft pick. And Lou Lamoriello's not going to give that. He's just not. And the reason people say, and this upsets me, because it upsets me because they think this about Tarasenko. Nobody wanted him because he's not good. Nobody wanted him. They wanted him. They just wouldn't give him what Armstrong wanted, and Armstrong wouldn't budge. That's the only reason he wasn't traded. If somebody would have said, Doug, I'll give you a first-round draft pick, a conditional one based on certain things, and then I'll give you a player like one of those defensemen from the Islanders. I'll give you him and a 4th-round draft pick. Armstrong would have jumped on it. He would have jumped on it in a heartbeat. But Lou Lamoriello was offering a second and a lower tier player, like a player on the roster, but a fourth line type of guy. And,
We don't need that.
and no, he wasn't going to budge. And I don't blame Doug Armstrong for not budging for that.
I think look, I've been critical of Armstrong. I have been critical of Armstrong. We know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he may have done one of the smartest things ever, is have an asking price that is so high that that when it came out, the negativity that went on the player may have helped the player a little bit.
Yeah.
Because Tarasenko is absolutely bought in. Right? But
Yeah,
I also know.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, Ashley, you haven't said something in a while. What do you think?
I'm in agreement on that. Sorry, my dog was crying for a bit, so I had to get her outside. But yeah, I think that
you get the two of us talking. It's the only way you're going to shut us up is if you jump in.
No, it's fine. But I think that might be why my dog was crying.
Yeah, and we don't mean to leave you out, because I'll be sitting here talking and I go, Ashley was going to say something. Oh, I'm so rude.
Yeah,
and that's when I say, Ashley, were you going to say something?
Totally fine.
Yeah, no, you know what? We love y'all. We're coming up on the 45-minute mark, so we're a little bit over. Hey guys, thank you so much. This was a great show, man. The shows are getting better. The people are watching. Keep it out. Keep the news going. Keep the word going. That's what's important. I look forward to talking to everybody later. I should be on Wednesday. I do not know about the home opener right now. That is big if
I won't be able to be on for the home opener.
Okay, I want to say something about Ashley. We've seen Ashley comment on the shows before she came on, and then she came on as a guest the one time, and I greatly appreciate it, and I appreciate Guy for what he's doing, because a lot of the other shows in St. Louis and even shows around the country, vlogs and podcasts, there are more women getting involved, but it's nice to see somebody that has a good knowledge of hockey and has good opinions and actually watches the game. And it's nice to see that. I greatly appreciate you being on, Ashley. So I just wanted to let you know that.
Lance, that means a lot.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We needed the class to place up a little bit, Hey guys, this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, for Lance, the Drop, and Ashley. We still need a nickname for.
Yep.
Saying aloha, mahalo, and I cannot wait to see you all on the next Blue Note Fan Report. Lance, can you stick around? I need to talk to you.
Yep, for a minute.